The Barcelona protesters are not only a bunch of idiots, but also completely wrong, and here's why. See, a few days ago I stumbled upon this clip and had to wonder, why are they doing this? Why are they specifically targeting tourists? So I did a little digging, and it turns out they are protesting against them because of the rising costs of rent and housing, which they blame on Airbnb because landlords are turning what used to be living accommodations into short-term lets. However, that's absolute bullshit, and I'm going to explain why to you. First of all, real estate prices will always rise. That's been a constant for decades. Even if anything, Airbnb allows more people than ever before to get into the game of real estate. Whereas before it used to be limited to hotels and people who had the means to buy them, now anyone can get started and rent out their own homes or a part of it, which in more cases than not helps them pay off an increasingly more expensive mortgage. Second, Barcelona is a tourist capital. Of course real estate is always going to be in high demand. It is not the rising costs that limit them, but the high taxes and low pay that is characteristic of Spain itself. Taxes, by the way, which are spent on illegal migrants, refugees and squatters, the same ones they welcome and that get free housing and welfare on their taxes. And finally, instead of protesting to the government which decides the amount of affordable residential housing that needs to be built, they decided to protest tourists, their main source of revenue. It would seem that they aren't very smart because, as it turns out, tourism is almost 20% of the whole GDP of Catalonia, about 70 billion euros. So while I am sympathetic to their cause, because let's be honest, rent and housing prices have become insane lately, these protests were absolutely stupid and reckless, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of small businesses that are heavily dependent on tourism fail because of their actions. So congratulations, Barcelona protesters. Prices may go down once there are less tourists, which I heavily doubt by the way, but even if they did, how will you afford rent when you can't get jobs and money? Let me remind you that 10% of your population works in hospitality. You're literally screwing over 1 in 10 people that you know. Anyways, that's it for my rant. See you guys.